Welcome to the Final Fantasy V/4 Fiesta 2022. This is run number 2. This is called a Team 375, which means that we get kind of a mix of the Team 750 and the Team No 750 jobs. Team 750 is the magical type jobs, and No 750 is the physicals. This is the battle with the Seal Guardians, or the Crystals. I've got, from top to bottom there, Mystic Knight, Bard, Samurai, and White Mage. So yes, White Mage and Samurai in common with the last run. Nothing we can do about that. That's just part of Gilgabot's random assignment. Once again, just like the last run, we're putting image on all of our characters to protect from the physical damage that's going to come in from these crystals, and it will come in fast, hot, and hard. So we're getting image on everybody before we can start going on the offensive. We do also have Shell to protect us from some of the magical attacks from these guys. This is going to be a bit longer battle than the last one, simply because we don't have a Berserker with the Doom Axe to take out 2 of these 4 crystals for us in one shot. That was quite a lucky run there that we had. Last time you could see that in the Run 1 playlist linked in the bottom of this video. We also have the Run 2 playlist linked in the bottom here that will have all of the Run 2 videos, most without commentary, but a few notable ones like this one with commentary. So we're still in the setup phase here. Right now, a little bit notable is that Bart's down there at the bottom does have Equip Harps as his support ability. Equip Harps, he's not really going to use Harps very much with these guys, but Equip Harps does give you a speed boost. One of the kind of hidden mechanics in this game that a lot of experienced players know, but if you're newer to the game you might not know, one of the hidden mechanics is that when you move abilities from jobs to other jobs, they often carry a stat boost with them, that if your stats are not as high as this stat boost is, it will give you a boost. So for example, moving magic, white magic, black magic, summon magic, most of them carry a boost to your magic attack with them, and the higher the level is, the higher that boost is. So if you put white magic on a samurai, that samurai will have a boost to their magic attack that they would not have without that spell. So it gives you a little bit better ability to attack with that, or have success using your magic because you have a boost to it. Now, the higher the magic skill, like level 1, 2, 3, or 5, or 6, the higher the boost will be. You still won't be quite as adept at casting as the actual character, because the boost is not as good as having a full job boost, with a couple of exceptions like the Thief. Mastering the Thief will give you the Thief abilities speed there on your barehanded, or your bear character. So I'm putting armor and shell. So armor will protect us for half damage if our images fade away. It's easy for that to happen with these guys because, man, you can see how fast they are, and at the beginning of the battle when there's 4 of them, that's when you're really in the most danger from all these guys. So keeping image applied is going to be a more difficult thing here. Once we have all of our protections up, we're going to hope to start picking up some hit points from the Vitality Song, so we're all in regen status. Now you can see Galef is ready to go on the offensive with his Air Blade. I do not have the Bizen's Pride, or the Bizen sword here for the Samurai, mostly because I forgot. I kind of forget about that one. That's one you can pick up at one of the castles in World 2. I believe it's Surgate Castle. You can buy it like in the basement of the castle. There's not a lot of stores or new shops in World 2 in that first part. You get a good one in the Forest of Mua. That's usually where I do a big upgrade. So I usually buy a big upgrade in the first town. I think it's called Rugor in World 2, and then the last town of World 2, the one before this forest here. But the Bizen sword, I just did not pick it up, and the town right before this one does not have swords and things. It has the Air Blade and a lot of good armor for us. So anyway, now we've got characters going on the offensive. This is Drain Sword from the Mystic Knight up there, so she's going to be picking up HP as she's attacking. One of the ways you can kind of cheese this battle a little bit, or if you need to really work it with a limited party, is if you've got a Drain Sword wielding character there, and then a Flame Shield. You can get that top fire one to be weak and have it just healing your character every turn if you can take a hit or 2, and then just, beat down the other one. So that's one trick you can kind of do. I did pick up the Aegis Shield, though, for this one, rather than the Flame Shield. I generally go for the Aegis Shield here when I can, just because you don't see it later on, like the Ice Shield and stuff you can get later. So we are equipped with as much dodging equipment as we can, so elf capes, guardian daggers as we can, especially in the beginning part of this battle. The samurai is now equipped with the Air Blade. Now that he's on the offensive, he took off the defensive weapon there. The Bard, I believe, still has the Guardian Dagger on, and she's in the front row. Or no, she has the Dancing Dagger, I'm sorry. The Dancing Dagger so that she could pull a sword dance. That's why I have kind of my squishy character in the front row, is because she's going to be attacking with the Dancing Dagger. And so as it is right now, we'll be able to tank one of the attacks from the guys, one of the big all-targeting attacks from these guys. So if that front one starts going into Aqua Breath, we're going to be able to tank it. We're going to be in okay shape if we have full health. If we don't have full health, then it's going to be a little bit harder. So we're working on that front piece, trying to bring him down. Gonna have success with our Mystic Knight and the Samurai doing the bulk of the damage, and the random sword dance from the Bard is gonna be the best help. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of useless dances. The Tempting Tango tries to put it into charm status. Mystery Waltz drains a little bit of MP, so not all that useful. We're gonna keep working on that front piece though a little bit. So you can see that Vitality Song, our regen, is restoring some of our hit points as we go by. We're all full health now. If we do take some damage, that will start to benefit us a little bit more. But as it is right now, we're just taking a little bit, and here is our first big all-targeting attack from these guys, and you can see it does almost 300 damage into our shells. So it's not quite as effective as it would be, obviously, without the shell status. Sword again can be helpful with the Mystic Knight. They can do pretty well with that, keeping their hit points up. Again, we're not getting the sword dances that we need from that Bard. That's really what we're looking for, is for a sword dance to help us out. But as long as we have only one of those crystals in its Berserk mode or spam mode, then we're going to be in fine shape, because I do have Cure 3 if I need it. But Cure 2 combined with the regen song is usually enough. So a couple hundred there, and then a tick or two of the regen will help make up for it. Once in a while, I might need a Cure 3, especially for my poor Bard down there. But hopefully this front one will not take too many more hits to bring totally down. And then the battle just gets even a little bit safer, because then I've only got 3 of them left. I don't have all 4 of them swinging their physical attacks at me. And so I can start to work on the earth piece that's below it. This battle is usually a kind of longer and deliberate battle, as you're going to watch here right now. It generally is not one that you can win quickly and easily. There is chemists can do kind of a doom potion mix, and they can kind of take out a couple of these crystals just with the dark matters that you're able to get naturally. But you can get a few extra dark matters if you're grinding for them in World 1. So if you get 4 dark matters and you can do 4 death potions, then you can end this one a lot more quickly. I believe that might be what the speedrun does, although I have not done a modern speedrun or seen a modern speedrun of this game recently. So we're keeping image up on our characters. That's why I have white on everybody. It makes a big difference not having a berserker in your team, to have just even one more character who can do things like that, especially when your magic attack doesn't matter. You know, the magic MA attack doesn't matter, unlike the samurai there, if he can apply the shell and armor and everything to these guys. There was a Cure 3, by the way, so the hit points finally dwindled low enough that Cure 2 plus a couple ticks of the Vitality Song were not enough. The speed of these guys really is something that it might be tricky to see on watching it, but when you play this game and you actually fight these guys, you can see how fast they are. Especially if you have a party of slower-ish characters, it can really ruin your day, the way these guys come at you, and as hard as they come at you. Now, the Samurai has the natural ability to do Blade Grasp, and if I had other characters that had higher levels on that, I would have that as a secondary. Maybe the White Mage would use that as a secondary instead of equip Harps for an extra speed boost. But Samurai is such a AP-heavy class. It's hard to actually get those levels without doing a ton of grinding. It's one of the... there's a nice sword dance. It's one of the kind of ironies of this game, one of the unfortunate ironies of playing challenge runs of this game, is that some of those better abilities of, like, the Samurai, like the Ianuki slash ability, you have to be such high level to grind up for that ability that by the time that you earn it, you don't really need it. It really just is a time-saving effort. So later on in this run, here, I will use that slash ability. And I use that in the run 1 as well, because I try to keep one character with Samurai for most of it, as much as I can, to pile up the AP on one character. But that slash ability really just kind of helps make some later game grinding and even some dungeon crawling faster. Sometimes it can be faster to just do the slash ability than it can be to run away from a battle. As funny as that sounds. So right now the white mage doesn't have much to do. I just waited there for him to use image. Waited for one more hit to come in. There's another miss right there, but right now the samurai's lost it. So the image, you will get 2 hits from the enemy. Oh, never mind, the samurai does have 1 there. The frame rate on this capture that I'm using on the emulator is not as good as my cartridge frame rate when I capture from cartridge. So this bottom one is the Earth Shaker, so it's the Earth Elemental, Earth-aligned one. Another trick that some people use if you have a Time Mage for float, or if you can use the White Mage to go back to an earlier area where you can find enemies that will cast float on you if they're confused or manipulated. You can get float on your characters and then put that one down into critical, and that will make you completely immune. So that's another strategy that some players use, is they'll get their characters floating, and then they will get that bottom part into critical, just to kind of let it hang out. There's a nice wind slash there from the air blade. I don't have a geomancer here, but the air blade has a chance to randomly cast wind slash. So the reason you're going to see I'm not going to work on the air piece next, because that air piece is going to be healed by any random wind slashes that come, but the other 2 will be damaged by 1,000. So here's another Earth Shaker. You can see how they came in kind of quick succession here, and already we're in a little bit of trouble. Ferris can heal herself with her own Drain Sword, so she's not much to worry about. The Bard can cast White Magic, but we're going to try to use our White Mage for that as much as possible, because the White Mage can't put as much damage into those guys as the other characters can. So I was able to get everybody fully healed, but we're going to have another Earth Shaker coming in here any second. So we got to have everybody full health if we can, even with shell status, without a lot of grinding. Our squishier characters can go down. And just so you can appreciate, these guys would be going just about in 1 hit from, especially my Bard, from these if they did not have Shell on. Shell does a great job of having the multiplier, and sometimes it can feel like even more than half it gets cut, because it has the multiplier, but it will round it down. If it cuts it in half and there's a half left, so if the multiplier is 5, it will actually have it down to 2.5, and then it'll round that down to 2. Or if it's like 7, it'll round it down to 3. So you can sometimes get what looks like much more than half cut, and then your magic, your defense can also have a difference in that. So it looks like it's a really, really nice deal, and it really is. Armor does the same thing, by the way, with physical attacks. It cuts the multiplier in half, but sometimes it looks like it's more than half. Image is just strictly better than armor, but because these guys don't have Dispel, I invested the time to cast armor on everybody, just to kind of cut down on having to revive characters if they get, like if all 4 crystals ganged up on one character, which is not common, but is possible to have all 4 just hit. That would KO a character like the Bard. 2 of them took out the images, and then 2 more attacks would take them out. So now we're just down to 2. The fire crystal's on top, the air crystal's in the back. I'm going to keep the air blade equipped on the samurai, and we're going to keep fighting the fire one. So if another wind slash comes out, then we'll get 1,000 damage on that for free. If a sword dance comes out on the Bard, then we'll get 1,000 damage for free. Otherwise, we're just going to keep using the best damage we can get from our Mystic Knight and regular attacks from the samurai. Once we get down to the air crystal, that's a little bit more tricky because we have to put our better weapons away, some of them. Our air knife is the knife you pick up right before this battle. And the air knife is got really nice attack power, but unfortunately the air element will heal that air piece back there. So you have to kind of step down to your less powerful knife. That would be your dancing daggers, your less powerful blade. Luckily, we do have someone who can use the epee weapon. I can't remember what it's called in other translations. It's the better sword that you can find in Galef's Castle and the Moat. You can buy it later on as well. The epee is what it's called in this translation. This is the RPGE translation from the 90s. This was a very important work that came out. There's a lot more information about the translation by the RPGE team in Chris Kohler's book, Final Fantasy V. I'm not endorsed by that by Chris Kohler or by Boss Fight Books, the publisher, but it is a very good one. And I did do a video review of the book on this channel a couple years ago, so you're welcome to search that out on this channel if you'd like to see my video review of Final Fantasy V. The book Final Fantasy V, not the game. So here the Bard is just hoping for a couple of good sword dances, especially once that Fire Crystal gets down to its lower one. Fire 3 is among the stronger of these abilities. Aqua Breath and Earthshaker are not quite as strong as Fire 3 and Arrow 3 can be. That's why I keep them for last. You can see it right there, 300. So Aqua Breath, you remember, was about 230 to 250-ish with this one. This one's over 300, and that's with Shell, remember. So without Shell, it's more like 700 to 800 for one, and you can see how that would nerf our Bard right away, even if the Bard was full health. Here comes another nice Wind Slash, so you can see it healed the Air Crystal by quite a bit, and then it damaged the Fire Crystal. The reason it healed the Air Crystal for more, by the way, is because when an element heals, an enemy. I think your team also. When elemental attack heals you, it bypasses defense. So it doesn't just heal you for what the attack would have done. It heals you for what the attack would have done without any defense. So these guys do have a fairly decent physical defense. You can see here. Thankfully, they're not big on evade. Some of the more annoying things like the X-Death later on here in World 2, they've got some annoying evasion. I'm keeping the Bard KO'd here. The reason why is that if I revived the Bard, I would not have enough actions to heal the Bard to full health and put a shell on her. She would need to be healed to full health and get a shell, and also really get an image, because the back piece there, the air piece, that thing is going to keep attacking. So I'm gonna go Bardless until I can get that Fire Crystal down. So I'm just using my characters. I'm playing a little bit more conservatively now, getting a hit in when I can, but mostly using my characters to stay healed up as best I can. So my White Mage here is going to do Cure 3. Thankfully, I do have a gold hairpin. You can pick that up in the Atmos tower, in the barrier tower, before this fight. So there's the Fire Crystal down. So now I was going to wait for that crystal to get an attack, and maybe if I'm real smart, I will wait for it to get another attack. Perfect. So it gets another attack in. Now I believe it's safe enough to get a life spell, and then the next action will be to put an image on her, and then we'll heal her up and then get a shell on her. So here you can see Ferris has put an image, and then, oh, looks like Gaela's going to go shell. So we're going to go image, shell, then we'll heal her up. And then I believe we also need to sing, yeah, we do also need to sing Vitality Song again, because the regen that she applied earlier in the battle will not be on her. But I'm not sure if she's going to go for the heal. Yeah, she doesn't have Cure 3. She does not have enough levels of White Magic to have Cure 3 in the transfer. This was a pretty grinding light battle, or a party, I should say. I did not have to do a lot of grinding up to make it through this game. Early in the game, yes, when I had just 4 White Mages, I had to do some decent grinding, but later on in this game, we don't really need a lot of levels. Namely because the Bard and Mystic Knight combo kind of give us all of the power that we need, and the Samurai is just gravy. And then the White Mage can cast Holy, so like all 4 of these characters are really, really effective in the later phase of this game. Magic is definitely overpowered, or I shouldn't say overpowered, but it's more powerful than physical attacks in this game. Magic is much, much better. It gives you just way more flexibility. And so you can see now the White Mage is able to go on the offensive a little bit, because I only have 1 attacker knocking my images out. So the White Mage has switched to the new Morning Star that we just picked up, and is doing fairly decent damage. Actually, on a good swing, it's doing damage comparable to the Mystic Knight. On bad swings, it's doing a little bit less. So that's actually not a bad swing either, right there, 408. It has really wild swinging offense. Those types of weapons, like axes and hammers and flails, they can be anywhere from like half to 1.5 times the basic damage of the weapon. There's 1,000 from the Sword Dance. You notice that she doesn't have armor on, the Bard doesn't anymore. It's not worth it at this point to put armor on, because I only have 1 attacker, so there's no like really ganging up. And there was Arrow 3, so that's another one that is closer to the like 600 or 700 range, but you can see it's down by the 200 range now with Shell. And Jitterbug Duet, actually that was helpful right there because that heals her up. And you can see finally now my White Mage is getting a little bit low on MP. Finally, after all that, the White Mage is a little bit low. Here comes another Arrow 3, but that's okay because all of my other characters all have White Magic if we need it. But I'm just having Galef go here. Guild Toss is something to talk about with this fight. These crystals have some decent defense, so Guild Toss does not do a lot of great damage. Guild Toss, unfortunately, has kind of a lowish attack value. Anyway, that's the last one. We can talk about Guild Toss in a later battle, but that is the crystals from this game. We're going on to later on in Run 2.